Hello, welcome. Today I'm joined by my friend ToadBrews. Uh,
It is me, ToadBrews.
Amazing, the legendary ToadBrews. So what we're doing is this is kind of a test to see how the process will work and how if we could make a thing out of this or not. So Toad and I have been playing Value Vintage. Toad's been playing it more than I have, and well, I've been playing it longer technically, but Toad has been playing it more consistently. And it's a really fun format. And for those who don't know, Value Vintage is vintage, but with a maximum budget of $30, which leads to a Brewers Paradise, as they call it. Anything you can play in vintage, you can play in this format as long as the entire deck and sideboard are $30 or less. So Toad has a good few amount of brews. Did you try? What did you try posting?
I'm linking to Value Vintage.
Oh, the links are disabled. Just send me it and I'll post it.
Bro,
Ah,
you have links disabled because you're a coward.
I have a lot of people who. Well, I don't have a lot of people. I have a good amount of people who hop into my chat. And. Motherfucker. It won't me. Oh, log in.
Joe, you gotta keep talking. There's gonna be dead air.
You're right. I'm trying to log in so I can post a link in the Twitch chat. There tends to
How
be
are
dead
you?
air on these things anyway.
How are you streaming if you're not logged in?
I am streaming. It won't let me interact in chat unless I'm logged in because OBS Streamlabs is weird. There, problem solved. I posted the link.
You did the thing.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Congratulations.
I don't know. I bugged out. I'm streaming. I'm live. I checked that. It just bugged out weird.
I see a picture of Dredge cards.
Yes. So that's where we're at now. Is so I thought it would be interesting for the first one to visit probably one of Magic's most iconic archetypes, which is Dredge, and see if we could do our iteration on it. I have a bunch of cards I think would be good. I have a bunch of cards that I've seen another list. It's meant to be slimmed down. We're meant to tune it down at the process of the stream is we'll talk kind of our thinking, go through other cards, sort of figure out the game plan that we're working on, and tune the list down to a full playable list, and do some test hands, talk about what we think about it, how are some ways we could change it up a little bit, what some strategies we want to go for, and stuff like that. I have a lot of different stuff in this, so go a few different approaches, which is kind of where we're starting. So for the creatures, I have generic Dredge stuff like Golgari Thug, Golgari Drave Troll, Stitcher Supplier, Stinkweed Imp, and I don't have any other.
So are we in the adding card stage or the cutting card stage?
We can
now?
add cards, we can cut cards.
Go ahead and put Undead Butler into the deck.
Undead Butler. Okay.
And put Rubble Belt Maverick into the deck.
Alright. Rubble Belt.
The first thing we're going to have to decide is what exactly does our deck want to do that none of the other Dredge decks in the format are doing?
True.
Because if we just want to do the same thing as the other decks, then we should be playing the other decks. There's no need to brew a deck that does the same thing as another deck already does.
Yeah. So my thinking initially is to do the general Narcomoeba, Prized Amalgam, Icarid package, but focus more a little bit on either with Bloodghast, which is in budget, and play the deck kind of like a mid-range deck, where we have discard and more like a slower base game. Have removal, have discard, have Cabal Therapy, and then kind of set up the deck and sculpt it for a perfect reanimator turn or slowly accrue values with reanimation targets.
Alright, so if we're doing reanimator stuff, go ahead and add life death to the deck.
Life, death.
Because that, besides Dread Return, which is a given, that's probably the best reanimation we're going to be able to run.
Yeah. Let's see what this does. All lands you control become 1/1 creatures. They're all still lands. Return target creature to the battlefield. You lose life with mana value. Okay.
It's just reanimate. It's reanimate for 1 more mana, and it has the split card half that you can also do stuff with.
So the question is, if we're reanimating, besides the general package of Prized Amalgam, Narcomoeba, and Icarid, and Bloodghast, what's our big payoff? What's our big reanimation payoff?
Well, we can always reanimate Golgari Grave Troll and just have a big troll.
True. I have Hogak in here, because Hogak seems like a good target.
Hogak is not a reanimation target. Hogak just raises himself out of the grave. That's kind of a whole different deck thing that we could be doing.
Okay.
Are we trying to deck ourselves, or are we trying to not deck ourselves?
I don't think we're trying to deck ourselves, but we're trying to get close to decking ourselves. That's my thinking.
Okay, well, if we're doing that, first off, take Gaia's Blessing out. We're not Gaia's Blessing in a Dredge deck.
I put it in there because I was thinking about doing like 4 horsemen with like Narcomoeba.
No, we're not doing that. We're not doing any of that ever at all.
No 4 horsemen?
Drew, generally what we should be doing is building a deck that is legal to play and functional.
It's legal to play.
So we're not doing 4 horsemen.
It's legal to play 4 horsemen.
Not really. You are wasting everybody's time if you do that. Alright, so are we trying to be aggro with these graveyard creatures, or are we trying to not be super aggro with them?
I was thinking more mid-range. Like, not like hardcore aggro, but like slowly accruing value. So, stuff like playing Otherworldly Gaze on an opponent's turn for information, and also to get our graveyard filled up a little bit more.
That seems not great.
Why's that?
Because it just doesn't do much.
Otherworldly Gaze surveils 3. It's not nothing.
You can just mill yourself like 6 cards.
With what?
Golgari Grave Troll.
True.
5 cards with Stinkweed Imp, 4 cards with Golgari Thug. Like, if we're gonna run cards that are basically cantrips, then we want actual cantrips.
Okay.
To trigger Dredge.
Got it.
But I don't know that cantrips is what we want to be doing anyway.
Okay.
So when you looked at other dredge lists, you looked at Hogak Roots, you looked at traditional dredge, you looked at cephalid breakfast.
I did. Those are the ones I looked at primarily.
Okay. Cephalid breakfast is the best way to mill out your deck.
I have those.
Hogak Roots
Considering
is a more sustainable deck. Kind of has a little bit more grind potential. And then traditional dredge is going to be like all-in graveyard aggro.
Okay.
There's also Oops All Spells, which is a graveyard sort of deck as well.
I did see that. I was going to try to avoid that because that seems a bit class cannon.
I mean, you're playing Dredge. Your entire deck is glass cannon. You straight up lose if you can't play around Rest in Peace. You have to play around Soul Guide Lantern, Tormod's Crypt, like all this stuff that people are going to bring in after game one.
So that's what I was thinking we'd do a list that's like it could play around those sort of things.
Okay.
Hence, stuff like Terra Sunder and Inquisition and Cabal Therapy and Bone Shards and Feed the Swarm and Duress.
You don't need Feed the Swarm if your deck is green. You have better options.
Okay.
So cut out the Feed the Swarms.
Yep.
And what's the blue-black card by Bone Shards?
That's Thought Erasure. It's target opponent reveals their hand. You choose another card from it.
Get rid of that. That's a bad card.
Okay.
We don't want to be on 2-mana discard in this deck.
Alright.
Go ahead and put Duress in the potential sideboard.
Okay.
Because we're not main decking Inquisition and Duress and Cabal Therapy for sure.
Okay, I'll move those all into the sideboard.
Alright.
We can.
Do we have Thought Scour in here right now?
No, but I can add it.
Add Thought Scour.
Thought Scour.
Like if you want to do this like cantrip type stuff, then we're gonna run the ones that are actually good.
Okay.
So we need a reanimate target, at least one good one.
Yeah. We have control of Khazad-dûm, which we can also use to Swamp Cycle.
Which is fine, but like that's not. Do you have Street Wraith in here?
No, but I can add it.
Put in Street Wraith. You need ways to get dredgers into the graveyard, and it's also good to have ways to dredge.
Got it.
Is that the Red Tooth guy?
Red Tooth, where?
Under Rebel Belt and above Stinkweed Imp?
That's Golgari Grave Troll.
Oh. You have all these arts that I've never seen before.
That's the cheapest one.
I know, I'm just saying, I've never seen a lot of these arts, and so when you're using the picture reference list, it's hard for me to tell what you are actually on.
Got it.
And then the blue creature is Narcomoeba?
It is Narcomoeba.
Okay, cool. So, are we going to lean into a reanimate plan, or are we going to lean into more going wide with small creatures?
Probably going wide would be a little bit wiser, I feel.
Okay. In that case, I would say don't worry about including another reanimate target.
Okay.
Unless you want something that is like an overrun type creature.
That's not a terrible idea.
Craterhoof is going to be too expensive, obviously.
Yeah.
I think Flamekin Zealot is what the deck used to run.
Let's take a look at it. Creature control get +1/1 haste. That's not terrible.
And then Emodane's Recruiter might also be the new version.
Let's see what is Recruiter's creatures control get +1/0 and gain haste.
I think so.
And Flamekin Zelda's creatures control get +1/1 in haste.
Yeah. But the Recruiter is potentially castable. And I don't think the Zealot is. So
Yeah.
it's just a toss up as to what we're thinking of for the mana base, what we're thinking of for actual mana.
Yeah.
Keep one of each of both of those in here.
Okay.
Are we gonna do Bridge from Below stuff?
Alright, so explain how the Bridge from Below combo interactions work, because like I've never fully gotten that one.
Okay. So Bridge from Below, as long as it's in your graveyard, when a creature you control dies, you get maybe a non-token, but you get a 2/2 zombie.
Okay.
Which means you sacrifice 3 Narcomoebas to Dread Return, and you get 3 zombies for each Bridge from Below in your graveyard.
Okay.
So if you reanimate a Immodane's Recruiter or a Flamekin Zealot and you have 2 Bridge from Belows in your graveyard, then you will make 6 3/3s plus the Zealot / Recruiter.
That would be good, yeah.
That is a decent way to win the game.
Okay.
The problem is, Bridge from Below also exiles itself if a creature an opponent controls dies.
So we'll have like 2 of them in the list?
Well, if you're doing it, you want 4. Whatever we're going to do with this deck, we're going to do it as hard as possible.
Okay.
If you're playing a Dredge deck, you can't half measure stuff. You have to either go for it or do something else.
Got it. So, looking at the sorceries, I have Terror Tide in there because it's all creatures get -X until the turn where X is the number of permanents in your graveyard. I was thinking to do that as a board wipe to clear the board.
We're not interested in clearing the board.
Okay. I'll remove all.
How familiar are you with Dredge generally?
I know the general basics of it. I don't know it fully.
Okay, we, in general, do not care about our opponent's permanence in game 1.
Okay.
Unless they, like, randomly have main deck Leyline of the Void, we are just trying to ignore whatever they are doing and run over them.
Okay.
Now, sideboard, we're going to need stuff that can answer primarily Rest in Peace, Ravenous Trap, Soul Guide Lantern, and Leyline of the Void. Those are the big ones that we're going to run into.
So I move the
Other people might...
Oh, go.
Other people might have other graveyard interaction stuff that we have to worry about, but primarily those are the ones, which is 2 enchantments, an artifact, and an instant. And also Surgical Extraction, which is another instant.
Okay. So, in the sideboard currently, I have 4 Duress, 4 Thought, 4 Inquisition Kozilek, 4 Terror Sunder, and 4 Cabal Therapy. We can trim those, but that's kind of where they're at.
Yeah. Go ahead and add Spell Pierce also.
Okay.
And Spell Pierce might not be correct to play, just I want to have it in the mind.
Okay, we'll move that to the sideboard. We'll tinker it later, but it's there.
I don't know why you wanted me to brew Dredge, because I'm really not a Dredge person. I am the control / mid-range person.
I figured it'd be a good place to start and like talk through some ideas and see what we could do.
Yeah, we can, but like I'm just saying, there are people who are Dredge experts who have put a lot of time into this deck, and we're kind of trying to invent it from scratch.
Got it.
All right. There is a creature that I don't remember the name from Aether Drift that is a 1/1 green creature for green that has tap, mill a card, and tap, exile a card from your graveyard, add 1 mana of any color.
Let's look
That
it up.
is a card that is better than Glowspore Shaman or whatever that guy is you have.
I don't have Glowspore Shaman. I have Skull Prophet, which is...
Yeah, that guy.
I remove him.
He just 2 mana. 2 mana is too much for a mana dork. 1 mana is much better. That's also why I don't think we should be on Mire Triton, because we can get a better effect for less mana.
Let's... So it's a green card.
Yeah.
Alright, those are all the white cards. Blue
Are you
cards.
looking at the entire set for Scryfall?
Yeah, I'm scrolling through until it hits the green.
You can just search for cards that cost a single green mana, and it'll be like 3 cards.
I'm already here now.
Okay, however you want to do it. I'm just saying, if you're gonna go deep in the sauce, you don't want to overcook it.
Malt Tender.
Yeah, that guy. Get
All
him in there. I would say that you want Deathrite Shaman, but unfortunately, Commander speculators have, or probably legacy speculators for that one, modern speculators, whatever. The Magic Finance community as a whole has made our cards unaffordable.
How much is Deathrite Shaman?
It's like $7 now. It is absolutely absurd.
Lowest price is $8.14.
Yeah, it's real bad. Drew, you have a fan in the chat.
Oh, hello. The Pie Overlord. Hello, how's it going? Is this Foster? I think it's Foster.
Alright. What is the white bordered black creature that you have?
That's Nether Shadow. It has haste at the end of your upkeep.
I know what Nether Shadow is. Do we want Nether Shadow? I guess. If we're playing Bloodghast and Prized Amalgam and Icarid, I don't think we want Nether Shadow.
Alright, I'll remove them.
Well, put him in the considering.
Move to consider, okay.
I'm not sure we want the Troll of Khazad Doom either.
Alright.
Like, I don't know how many lands Dredge decks are on. I know that there are actual no-mana Dredge decks.
Yeah. Let me pull up the ones that exist already and we'll take a look at them. So, we'll look at Dredge proper. And then we'll look at Dredge proper and we'll look at Roots and Breakfast. So this is the Dredge proper, which has Silver Smoke Ghoul, Golgari Thug, Narcomoeba, Grave Troll, Prize Amalgam, Oxvagonus, Icarid, Stinkweed Imp, Breakthrough, Faithless Looting, Creeping Chill, Otherworldly Gaze, Vision Charm, and Is It Lance?
Yeah. Vision Charm is interesting. Yeah, so we're gonna definitely want the Gemstone Mines. We're also gonna want cards to cast our green mana dork guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what 5-color lands are playable in Value Vintage besides Gemstone Mine. We definitely don't want Dakmor Salvage. Get those out.
Alright.
Anything that has Dredge 2 or less is not really worth it.
Alright. Riverboat Maverick only surveils 2. And you can exile from your graveyard to put a counter on it something. Activate one as a sorcery. You may remove that one.
You can remove Rebel Belt. I don't think we're doing that plan.
Remove or move to considering.
I just remove him totally.
Remove all. Satyr Wayfinder. When enters the battlefield, reveal the top 4 of your library, put a land into the hand, and rest in your graveyard.
Remove Satyr Wayfinder.
Grim Flare, I don't think we're playing because it's too mid-rangey.
Well, Grim Flare is interesting.
Oh?
Like, the problem is it has to hit to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
So probably we are not doing Grim Flare.
I'll move it to considering because it's still a good idea.
Yeah. What does Centaur Chieftain say?
Centaur Chieftain.
It's not a card that you have pulled already. You have to look it up.
Centaur Chieftain says as long as 7 more cards in your graveyard the creature has when the earner's creature control gain +1 to gain trample until end of turn.
Okay, not haste. So we need haste.
It itself has haste, but it's not give haste.
Yes. What does Endray's Forerunners say?
Endray's Forerunners. When enters battlefield, create other creature control get +2/2 and vigilance and trample. No haste.
Okay, nope, that doesn't do it. Alright, yeah, and then I think the other stuff, the red stuff, is expensive. So I think the Emodanes is the best bet. So go ahead and cut Flamekin.
Alright.
And then go up to a second Emodane.
Okay. Street Wraith. We have Street Wraith. Do we want to keep that in, or?
Yes, we want Street Wraith.
Undead Butler, you already said add.
Well, Undead Butler, we're considering. Like, it may not be correct. If we want to do more of a mid-range thing, then Butler is good. But if we want to be faster, then Butler is too slow.
Okay, so what about Stitcher Supplier? That's pretty good.
Stitcher Supplier, I want to keep.
Okay.
Alright, so our mana base is going to be Sultai.
That's what I'm thinking.
Okay. So let's look at some of the take the Undead Butler out.
Okay.
Or move it to the considering section.
Okay. There are 39 creatures so far. We're whittling them down.
We're a little high on creatures right now. Alright, so then let's go down to the sorceries and take a look at that.
Okay. I have Treasure Cruise. That just surveils 5. Bone Shard, sacrifice creature, discard a spell to kill a creature or planeswalker. Life Death, which you've already...
Take out the Surveil 5. Take out 2 of the Life Death.
Okay.
Because that's just going to be a backup plan for the Dread Return, which is what we actually want.
Got it. Bone Shards move to sideboard or considering?
Just take Bone Shards completely out.
Alright.
That is not a good card.
Creeping Chill seems like a good ad. Squirming Emergence
Squirming Emergence is more mana than Life Death.
Okay, so I'll remove it.
Also, keep in mind that any of these cards that don't work from the graveyard, we're only going to have access to them if they're in our opening hand.
Okay.
So we don't want a lot of cards that don't work. in our deck.
Okay.
So when we're thinking about things like Duress and Spell Pierce and Treasure Cruise, these are things that we don't want to water our deck down with because we need them to be in our opening hand to cast them. Because otherwise, like opening hand, maybe first draw step, we're just after that trying to
Got it.
So Creeping Chill is good. Let's look at the instance.
I have Unauthorized Exit, which balances a permanent, you surveil 1.
Move those to considering.
I have Don't Make a Sound, which counters target spell unless the controller pays 2. If they do, surveil 2.
Nope, cut that completely.
Grapple the Past, mill 3, then return a creature or land from your graveyard to their hand.
We'll think about that in a little bit.
Oh, hold on.
We may be able to get by with just a Simic mana base. Because I don't know that we need to actually cast any of these black cards for mana. If we do that, we can cut. Well, that's true. Okay, yeah. For now, Sultai.
Okay. Back to the instance. I have Curate, which surveils 2 and draws a card at instant speed.
How much mana?
2.
Cut it.
Otherworldly Gate.
We don't want to pay 2 mana for anything unless it wins the game on the spot.
Okay. Then I'll put Grizzly Salvage in considering 2.
Yes.
Then we have Thought Scour, Brainstorm, and Consider.
Those are good. I think we want to keep those ones. Maybe go to, maybe not Consider, but we'll think about it for a while.
Alright. Enchantments,
Grapple with the Past. Grapple with the Past we're not doing.
We're not doing Grapple with the Past.
Yeah.
Enchantments, I have Crawling Sensation, which...
Nope. That's so incredibly slow.
We're not doing Loop, so I can get rid of Enhanced Surveillance. Cemetery Tampering seems probably too slow.
Yeah. For a normal game with this deck, imagine that you mulligan to 4 and you keep Gemstone Mine, Stitcher's Supplier, Golgari Grave Troll, and something else. And you need a way to discard that Grave Troll.
Okay.
So if we can have, Careful Study is too much mana, I know that.
Brainstorm we can only warn a 1 of, because that's the Legacy rule, right?
Which one?
Brainstorm is a 1 of?
Brainstorm? Yes, that is a restricted card in Vintage.
Okay. I have Search for Azcanta, which I thought was pretty clever.
It's... By the time you have done anything with Search for Azcanta, the game was over 3 turns ago.
Okay.
And you either won or lost. These are not control cards. We're not building a control deck here. We're not building a mid-range deck. We're not building a stacks deck or a prison deck. This is a deck that wants to kill people as quickly as possible. You want to put 10 plus cards in your graveyard every turn until turn 3 or 4 maybe, where you win the game or it's over.
Okay. So I'll move Insidious Roots to Considering as well.
Yeah, because I don't think we're doing Hogak Roots. If you want to do Hogak Roots, then we should be starting with an established Hogak Roots list.
Okay.
Alright, we do need some discard outlets.
So this one
and
has...
Bone Shards does not count because it needs a target.
Breakthrough, draw 4 cards and discard X cards in your hand.
Yep, Breakthrough is great. Put Breakthrough in immediately.
Okay.
That is what we want.
How many?
4. Like that is the best card that we can have. All right. So what are we looking at as far as a card count now?
We have 75 main deck, only 4 of which are lands.
All right. Go ahead and cut the life deaths.
Okay. Should I get rid of Treasure Cruise?
No, keep Treasure Cruise. But cut the rest of the 1-mana cantrips. Because I don't think they're fast enough.
Alright.
Now that we have Breakthrough, that's better. Breakthrough is just a better version of a cantrip.
Okay.
Well, let me think about Otherworldly Gaze for right now.
I put in Considering, I can bring it back.
Yeah. Cut the Thought Scours and then the Considers to Considering. And the Brains. Well, keep Brainstorm. Alright, so how many cards do we have main deck now?
61.
Okay, we need probably 10 or 11 lands minimum. We absolutely have to have one, and then I think we might occasionally want a second one.
So this Dredge list runs 14 lands.
Yeah. Put in the Cephalid Colosseums.
Okay.
Alright. What green spells are we actually trying to cast?
Molt Tender and Grave Troll.
We're not trying to cast Grave Troll.
Okay, so Molt Tender.
Okay, cut the Molt Tenders to the Considering section.
Okay.
And we'll keep those in there with the rest of the Hogak Roots stuff.
Okay.
Alright. Now, what are we looking for on card slots?
We have 61 main deck, 8 of which are lands. We have a lot of creatures right now.
We do have a lot of creatures right now, but that's what we want. Alright. Cut the well. See, this is the point where we've done all of the easy stuff, and now we would need somebody who actually knows how Dredge decks work.
Yeah.
So between Bloodghast, Icarid, and Thug, I think we need to cut some, but I don't know what.
Okay.
And then I think we want to cut 1 Dread Return.
I can do that right now. So Icarid says at the beginning of your upkeep, if Icarid's in your graveyard, you exile a black creature card other than Icarid from your graveyard to return it. It has haste, and at the end step, sacrifice Icarid.
Yeah, it's good.
Bloodghast.
Icarid was what the deck originally ran.
Bloodghast is creature can't block because it has haste as long as the opponent has 10 or less life. Which, with Creeping Chill, we can get there.
Well, let me talk to you about Bloodghast for something. So again, imagine that we mulligan to 4, and our hand has 1 land in it. We're never drawing a second land.
Yeah.
So Bloodghast in this deck is never going to come back.
True.
Now, if we want to do the Insidious Root stuff, then Bloodghast is interesting. But I don't think that's the direction we're taking it. So I would cut all the Bloodghast.
I'll move it to Considering for now.
Yeah, when I say cut, just move it to Considering.
Okay.
Like just don't like fully delete everything. We can keep it in mind for later. but I don't think it should be in this version of the deck.
Okay.
Go ahead and cut the second Immodane's Recruiter too. I think we can pretty consistently mill through most of our deck.
Got it.
Alright, and then what was our sorceries? We have 3 Dread Return, 4 Creeping Chill, 4 Breakthrough, 1 Treasure Cruise.
Yes.
Cut the Brainstorm. I don't think we want Brainstorm.
Alright.
Alright, so what does our slots look like now?
We have 54 cards, 8 lands.
Okay, what does our budget look like now?
$25.
Let's look at the sideboard. So we want to look at the sideboard. Cut Duress.
Cutting duress, so I'll move to considering.
Just get rid of all the duresses.
All the duresses?
All the duresses move to considering. All of the Terra Sunders move to considering.
Okay.
Right. So put 4 Ravenous Traps in the sideboard.
Okay. Ravenous. Trap. Move to sideboard.
So Ravenous Trap is a card that we want for other graveyard decks. And more importantly, it is very good in our opening hand because we can cast it for no mana.
Okay.
Cut the Inquisition of Kozilek's 2.
Okay.
So then we have 12 cards in the sideboard, and I would say add 3 Nature's Claim. And I know that it is expensive, but I think that for this specific build, that's what we want.
Okay. Three of them, you said?
3 of them in the sideboard, yep. And we might cut one of those later to make some room for the sideboard stuff. I'm not sold on 3 Nature's Claim. I'm not sold on 4 Therapy. I'm not sold on 4 Spell Pierce. But it gives us a 15-card sideboard that we can use to figure out budget stuff.
Yeah.
So, put in 2 Dark Slick Shores.
Dark Slick.
And see how much those cost.
They're $4 each.
Really? Okay. Well, I thought that those were cheaper now, but I guess not.
Oh, remove that one.
Alright, remove that because we're not running that. What about Underground River?
Underground River is $1 or $2.
Yeah, put 2 Underground Rivers in. Alright, how much budget do we have left?
We are at 3068.
What are the money cards besides Underground River?
Nature's Claim. Bridge is $1. Stinkweed Ip's $1. Icarid's 50 cents.
Cut an Icarid.
3023.
Cut a. I don't want to cut a bridge. How much are Narcomoebas?
30 cents.
Three to go off. All right. I guess cut an Underground River. We can't afford to.
I was like, we could cut a gemstone, but yeah.
How much are gemstones?
40 cents, 36 cents.
Nope, we have plenty of room for gemstones.
Then I'll remove one underground river.
Yep. And then go ahead and add one basic swamp, and then fill the deck with islands.
Swamp. And then... What about Stitcher Supplier?
We have 6 sources for it out of how many lands?
15. Should I add one more swamp and down an island?
How much is River of Tears?
River of Tears is 10 cents.
Put in 4 River of Tears. This will not let us break through on turn 1, but it will let us Stitcher Supplier on turn 1. And then cut the swamp and cut some islands.
Remove that. And remove 1, 2, 3. 15 lanes.
Alright, what does the budget look like now?
2870.
Cut an island and put Icarid back in.
Okay. 2915.
Okay. As far as Nature's Claim, I don't know that we actually can have the mana base to support it. So go ahead and cut those out of the sideboard, which also gives us more budget room. Because I don't think we're casting Nature's Claims off of just gemstones.
Yeah.
So what is the budget now?
2609.
Put in a surgical extraction.
Surgical. It's $1.84, not too bad.
Yeah, we can fit one.
Do we want to put 2 in there? Just for...
Can we fit 2?
Yes, and we have one more card left for sideboard.
Alright, and then what does our budget look like?
2977.
Alright, cut a spell pierce, put 2 duress back in the sideboard.
Okay.
Or, I don't think we can fit Inquisitions.
Do we want 4 Cabal Therapy? That's 50 cents. We could put...
Yeah, we do.
Okay, we want 4 Cabal Therapy.
We absolutely want 4 Cabal Therapy. Alright, so that is a playable 75. And what does the budget come in at?
2969.
Alright, go ahead and hit update to cheapest and double check everything.
2969.
Okay. So we have 31 cents of wiggle room. We have a playable 75 card list. And everything in the deck is either free from the graveyard or 1 mana, correct?
Yes.
Okay. I think that is a good list to start with.
Do you want to do some test hands and see how it looks?
I mean, you can go ahead and use the Moxfield feature to generate test hands.
Alright, so here's the first hand. Underground River, River of Tears, Stitcher Supplier, Stinkweed, Icarid, Breakthrough.
That's really good.
Let's play test it.
Yep.
So which land do we play first? River of Tears, Underground?
We play River of Tears and we play Stitcher Supplier.
Tap it, Stitcher Supplier, and then 1, 2, 3. We mill Icarid, Stitcher Supplier, and Island.
Okay. So then we're going to pass the turn.
Next turn, we draw a bit.
We're going to exile. Yep, we're going to bring back Icarid.
Bring back Icarid and move Stitcher Supplier to exile.
Yep.
We drew a bridge from
So
below.
Now, float a black mana, or float a blue mana.
Alright, I have a blue floating.
Float, and then play Underground Sea, or River.
Underground River.
And cast Breakthrough for X equals 1.
Okay. Tap that, Breakthrough. One, 2, 3, 4. We drew Prized Amalgam, Bridge from Below, Breakthrough, and Timeless Immodane's Recruiter.
Alright, discard everything except Breakthrough.
Alright. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then Breakthroughs in the yard. And then swing with Icarid.
And then swing with both of them. Like, why are we hanging back to block?
Okay.
It's turn 2.
So that's 4. And next turn?
So end of turn, sacrifice Icarid.
Icarid's in the yard.
Make 2 zombies.
Add token. Zombie. Zombie. Next turn?
Yep, go to next turn.
Prized Amalgam.
Don't draw. We're going to dredge.
Dredge. Alright, we'll do the dredge for Stinkweed Imp.
Do we have a Grave Troll?
We do not.
Then we're going to do Stinkweed Imp.
So we move Stinkweed Imp to hand and mill 4, because I already milled 1.
Yep.
Actually, upkeep trigger because of Icarid.
Yeah, we should have done Icarid.
Do we get rid of... Bring back 1 Icarid and get rid of the other Icarid so we can get the 2 prized amalgams?
That is probably... Well...
1 prized amalgam would be there. 1 prized amalgam would be on the deck.
Okay, so get exile an Icarid, bring back an Icarid.
Icarid. And... No, not... That goes in exile.
So then how does Prized Amalgam read exactly?
Whenever a creature enters battlefield, if it enters from your graveyard, or if you cast it from your graveyard, return Prized Amalgam from your graveyard to the battlefield at the beginning of the next end step. So it comes out at end of turn.
Yep, that's what I thought, but I don't have the card in front of me. Okay, so now go ahead and resolve your Dredge from Stinkweed Imp.
Alright. We go here, view all. Stinkweed Imp we put to hand. And then we mill Prized Amalgam, Straight Wraith, Prized Amalgam, Stinkweed Imp, and River of Tears.
Okay, cool. Go ahead and cast Breakthrough for X equals 1 again.
Tap, tap. We have to this one we could lose a life, we lose a life. We're at 19.
No, we didn't lose a life. We tapped the River of Tears for blue.
Oh yeah, you're right. Breakthrough. Draw 1. We draw Icarid.
Nope. Don't draw anything.
Oh, Dredge.
Dredge the Stinkweed Imp.
View all. So we put Stinkweed up into our hand. And then we do Icarid, Stitcher Supplier, Breakthrough, Gemstone Mine.
Okay. So then go ahead and discard a Stinkweed Imp.
Stinkweed up in the bed.
And
Let's draw 4 cards. We did that 4 times?
yeah, well, one of the Stinkweed Imps is in our hand, so put the Stinkweed Imp in your hand.
Okay.
And then what do we have in the graveyard after dredging the first Stinkweed Imp? Do we have a Dredger?
Gemstone Mine, Breakthrough, Stitcher Supplier, Icarid, River Tears, Prized Amalgam, Street Wraith, Prized Amalgam, Breakthrough, River Tears, Bridge from Below, and Immodane's Recruiter.
Okay, so now we draw 3 cards.
So we got Treasure Cruise, Prized Amalgam, Golgari Thug.
Alright, keep the Treasure Cruise, discard the rest.
Prized Amalgam, Golgari Thug, Stinkweed Imp. That's in the graveyard.
Yeah, we didn't dredge very well, or we would have just won the game here. So go ahead and attack with everybody.
1, 2, 3, 4. That's 8.
Yep.
They're at 8.
Okay, so now we're going to go to the end of the turn.
Icarid.
We are going to sacrifice Icarid. How many Bridge from Belows do we have in the graveyard?
We have 1, 2. Icarid, Breakthrough, Stinkweed Imp, Golgari Thug, Prized Amalgam, Gemstone Mine, Breakthrough, Stitcher Supplier, Icarid, River Tears, Prized Amalgam, Street Wraith, Prized Amalgam, Breakthrough, River Tears, 2 Bridge from Below.
Alright, make 2 zombies. And
then
return 1 Prized Amalgam.
the Prized Amalgam.
Alright, so end the turn.
Next turn. And then Narcomoeba would be... We dredge, right?
If we milled any Narcomoebas, they should be in play.
We'll go 1.
Yeah, so dredge a Stinkweed Imp.
No, that goes there. View all. Stinkweed Imp is in our hand. We've already milled Narcomoeba. So that's 5. So we need to do River Tears, Creeping Chill, put that on the side, Gemstone K, and Breakthrough.
Okay, go ahead and resolve the Creeping Chill.
Those are in the graveyard. Creeping Chill gets exiled, and we gain 3 life. 1, 2, 3.
Okay. So, on board here, we win the game.
Yeah.
Turn 4 kill. We have enough lethal attackers. Against an opponent who is actually doing stuff, we would want to Treasure Cruise and then dredge Stinkweed Imp, Golgari Grave Troll.
Uh-huh.
If we have a Grave Troll. Like, I'm not good at seeing what's in your graveyard, but we need to find a Dread Return to get that Immodane's Recruiter.
Got it.
But yeah, this was potentially a turn 2 kill or a turn 3 kill. We just whiffed it.
Yeah.
But I think that we were... So the problem here is if the opponent had creatures, then we wouldn't have been able to attack. Because if they chump block, it gets rid of our Bridge from Below.
Yeah.
Let's go back and look at the deck list.
Okay.
So do we have 4 Icarids now?
We have 4 Icarids.
Okay. How many Grave Trolls do we have? Just one?
Just one.
Why do we only have one?
I don't know. It's $1.20.
Well, we should have cut the underground river and put in another Grave Troll.
Do we want to add in another island?
No, I think we have enough lands.
13 lands?
Yeah.
Okay.
And cut a surgical extraction. We need to be on 4 Grave Trolls. Like, just non-negotiable, we need 4 Grave Trolls.
Alright, remove surgical extraction.
So we're going to cut whatever we need to cut to
due to
fit
restrictions.
those. Oh, well, that would explain why we only have one. There we go. That is, again, another thing that a Dredge person would probably have known. Okay, in that case, put the surgical back in.
And the underground
But just
river.
put in a swamp. Just put in a swamp instead of the underground river.
Okay. Well, no. Put in a swamp and add surgical back in. 2776.
Yep. What are we looking at main deck? Are we missing anything that we should obviously have? Besides Faithless Looting that our mana base isn't set up for right now.
I can't think of anything.
How much are Careful Studies? Those are absurdly expensive now, right?
I think so. Careful Study is $4.
Yep, that makes sense. Okay. So, at this point, I feel like we have too many lands, honestly.
I think it's better to be safe than sorry, because 14 is how much this dredge list has, and this is the one that's supposed to be referenced on the
Right.
like the value vintage thing.
Yeah, cut 2 of the River of Tears and put in 2 basic islands. Because we do want to make sure that we can cast Breakthrough and Treasure Cruise after turn 1.
Okay.
Alright, yeah, I think that this deck is as good as it's going to get without actual testing. My concern is we're not really doing anything that the Dredge decks are not already doing. So have we just spent an hour to build a worse version of a deck?
I don't know. Because, like, looking at the dredge list that was updated a month ago, that was supposed to be, like, the dredge list that's, like, referenced on the, like, value vintage page. For, like, here's value vintage in a nutshell, here's all the decks you should be looking at. Our list compared to that list is a lot more devoted.
We don't have Faithless Looting because of our mana base, and we don't have Silver Smoke Ghoul. It might be worth, and we also don't have the Vision Charms. It might be worth. The problem with Silver Smoke Ghoul is you have to hit a Creeping Chill to do anything.
Yeah,
and I've had a lot of games against Dredge where they don't hit a Creeping Chill until like turn 4 or 5, and then at that point your ghouls are what? They come in tapped.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not ideal. Like Prized Amalgam and Icarid are much more consistent.
Oh.
I do like the Ox though. What is the dollar cost on the ox?
86 cents.
Yeah. I will be honest. I think if we want to play Dredge, um, we should start with this list that people have been tuning for a while. And then if we don't like it, we can play our version of Dredge.
Okay.
But if we're going to like order cards to put together a deck, I am fine with just trying out this. So they don't have the sideboard graveyard hate stuff. What is the second card in their sideboard?
It's Stern Dismissal, Sailor's Bane, Pithing Needle, and Leyland of Sanctity.
Okay, Sailor's Bane is interesting. That might be a meta call. I honestly would rather have Stern Dismissal. I would rather have Ravenous Trap.
Yeah.
Sailor's Bane I do like. The reason Sailor's Bane is good is because it does give you like a plan if they stop you halfway through. So like you start dredging for a couple turns and then you get Rest in Peace or Soul Guide Lanterned. They've now exiled a bunch of instants and sorceries and you can just cast Sailor's Bane.
Got it.
So let's go to our sideboard and cut the Spell Pierces.
Okay.
And we're going to cut one Cabal Therapy.
Alright.
And just put in 4 Sailor's Bane.
Sailor's Bane.
Because that does seem like very good technology to beat Graveyard Hate. Okay, so what does our budget look like now?
2703.
And how much does Faithless Looting cost?
I like 50 cents.
I don't know where we have room for it. See, we don't have... The actual Dredge list has a lot more enablers, although I guess we do have Stitcher's Supplier.
Yeah. Faithless Looting is 20 cents.
Yeah, put in 4 Faithless Looting. And then we need a Is It Land.
This says Fiery Islet, which is 40 cents.
Yeah, put 4 Fiery Islets in and cut the basics. Fiery Islet was in like almost all of the Doctor Who precons, and it went from a $6 card to a nothing card.
Yeah.
Alright. Okay, so that gives us...
We have 64 cards.
We have 64 main deck cards?
Yes.
Okay. Cut 2 Street Wraiths. One Icrid. And 1 Stitcher's Supplier. Because we're replacing Stitcher's Supplier with Faithless Looting, so that gives us more of that effect.
Yeah.
But like this fine point trimming of last numbers and stuff, this is where actually having experience with the deck as a pilot and not just an opponent is valuable.
You're right, but also I think us looking at it and us testing it now, and recording it sort of leads to a learning experience where we might not know what we're doing, but we're looking into it and like trying to figure out what works and what we think will work.
We are walking through the lines of the deck, but is that relevant content to someone when they could be watching a video from somebody who actually understands the deck?
I think so.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to say this deck is finished.
All right.
And we can end the stream, or we could brew another deck.
I think we stop the recording but keep the stream live.
Okay, that works for me.
So, just to wrap up, this is a test episode. I'll post it later. Thank you everyone for joining us. If you have any tips and suggestions on how to fix the deck or what your experience with Value Vintage is, please let us know. We really appreciate it. Like, this is a test video. Like I said, the next one will be a little bit more ironed out. It'll be something we're a bit more experienced with. And if we keep making these, it'll be a lot more experienced, a lot more thought out, a lot more sort of like, the more we play, the more we figure it out, the better these will be.
And I think for the next time, we can come up with some whiteboard ideas of maybe stuff that are not already known decks, and maybe come at the format with a little bit of new technology.
For sure.
Which usually I am brewing decks that are doing something different than what the format already does, and they're not always good. Sometimes I O3 drop or whatever, but I want to do something interesting. I want to do things that people have not seen before and try and attack their deck from an angle they're not expecting it. And Dredge is very much something that everybody is aware of. Everybody has 4+ sideboard slots for it. It is a linear deck. It is a good deck. It's doing what it does quickly and consistently, but you are going to run into people who are just like, I'm never losing to Dredge. I have 4 Rest in Peace and 4 Soul Guide Lantern, and we're just never going to lose to Dredge.
The other thing, though, is I don't think it's necessarily... what's the right word? I think from time to time we should go over established deck list and established ideas and archetypes and see if we can make them better with some new tech, or
I'm willing to do that. The thing is, I would prefer to do that with a deck where I am familiar with the lines. So, like, if we're doing Plasma Swans or Jund or The Rock or something like that, where I have actually piloted those decks in extended, modern, pioneer type formats, and I have experience with doing them, I think I might have something to offer for those decks. Dredge is not a deck that I have ever picked up and played with.
Got it. That's totally fair. And, like, it's a good starting point, you know?
I have lost to Dredge decks many times, and I have beaten Dredge decks many times. So I have experience with the deck from the other side. I know what some of the win lines can be. Just that last 10% of fine detail, cutting and trimming and adding and mulligans is stuff that I can't really speak to.
Yeah. But I think for our first attempt, our first try, we did very well. We'll post a list in the Value Vintage server. We'll get some thoughts. We'll get some ideas. And I'll post this video eventually, sooner or later, and post it so like they can follow our train of thought. And other people can follow our train of thought, because I think it's valuable for us as general, not saying literally, but us as beginners, I think it's valuable going through this thought process and figuring it out, tuning it, testing it, and seeing what we can do.
Yeah.
Do you want to do one more? What?
No, I was gonna say that's fine. That makes sense.
Do you want to do one more test because we have another, even it out to about an hour and a half. So we have 15 minutes left. We can do one more test game.
Yep, again.
Cool. All right, so this hand has no lands. We're gonna.
Hold on. Let's actually look at the hand.
It's a
I think you're right that we do mulligan this. However, if you have an opening 7 with no lands and a Golgari Grave Troll, you could potentially just win the game with that hand.
True.
So go ahead and mulligan it.
Deal another hand. Sync with him, Creeping Chill, Icarid, Breakthrough, Narcomoeba, Grave Troll.
So this is on 6. I don't think we could keep it. On 7, we might be able to keep this.
Okay, let's try dealing another hand. We'll go to 5 and then we'll go to 7.
Okay.
Stitcher Supplier, Golgari Thug, Breakthrough, Narcomoeba, Faithless.
Yeah.
Alright, we're going to go back to 7.
Nope, we're going to go to 4, and if we need to, we're going to go to 3. This is a deck that mulligans to 3.
Alright. Golgari Thug, Bridge from Below, Stinkweed Up, Triple Creeping Chill, and Breakthrough.
Mulligan to 3.
Mulligan to 3. Fiery Islet, Golgari Thug, Stinkweed Up, Bridge from Below, Narcomoeba, Prized Amalgam.
Alright, keep Fiery Islet, Bridge from Below, Stinkweed Up.
Alright, we'll play test it. Put this on the bottom. Move to bottom of the library. Do we put them in a certain order?
Nope, I don't think it matters.
Okay.
Creeping Chill, or no, we don't have a Creeping Chill. Yeah, it doesn't matter. We want the Narcomoebas not to be the very last card.
Move to bottom of our library. So we have Stinkweed Imp, Bridge from Below, and Fiery Outlet.
So go ahead and play the Fiery Islet.
Fiery Outlet.
And then end the turn.
Next turn. Dredge return.
End the turn.
Cephalid Coliseum.
Play the Cephalid Coliseum.
Okay.
End the turn.
Breakthrough.
Yep, okay, we got there. So go ahead and cast Breakthrough for X equals 1, taking a damage.
Alright, we'll take 2 damage, because these both deal as damage.
Yeah, whatever you need to do. Well, yeah, I guess so. It's not a pain land, it's a Fire Islet. Yep. So
Breakthrough.
Take 2. Yep.
We draw Icarid, Faithless Looting, Immoda's Recruiter, Stinkweed Imp.
Keep the Faithless Looting, pitch everything else.
Okay. Then Breakthrough goes to the yard. Next turn.
Yep. We're going to mill the Stinkweed Imp.
Alright, well. So Stinkweed Imp, mill all. Stinkweed Imp we put here. We dredge 5. With just Creeping Chill, Dredge Return, Golgari Thug, Bridge from Below.
Okay.
So Stinkweed Imp goes to hand. Creeping Chill gets exiled. I'm gonna put it up here just as a count, because I'm keeping track of our life total in the top corner, and putting enemy's life total up here.
Okay.
Cool.
Go ahead and Faithless Looting.
Tap that for 1.
And we're gonna dredge. So is Golgari Thug our best dredger right now in the graveyard?
Golgari Thug's dredge 4. Stinkweed Imp's dredge 5.
Alright, dredge a Stinkweed Imp 5 for the first draw.
Stinkweed Imp's in our hand. And we dredge Fiery Islet. Narcomoeba goes to the field. Straight Wraith. Stitcher Supplier. Fire Islet. And then we do the second draw for Golgari Thug and Dredge 4.
Yep.
Golgari Thug in hand. Breakthrough. Faithless Looting. Stinkweed Imp. Narcomoeba. Narcomoeba's on the field.
Alright. Discard both of the Stinkweed Imps.
Stinkweed Imp's gone. Stinkweed Imp is gone.
Alright. What do we have? Do we have any prized amalgams or Icarids in the graveyard?
Stinkweed Imp, Stinkweed Imp, Stinkweed Imp, Faithless Looting, Breakthrough, Faithless Looting, Fiery Islet, Stitcher Supplier, Street Wraith, Fiery Islet, Dread Return, Golgari Thug, Bridge from Below, Breakthrough, Bridge from Below, Dread Return, Icarid, Immodane's Recruiter.
Okay. Pass turn.
Okay. Next turn, Dread Return. Oh, we did Melt.
Nope. Stinkweed Imp, mill it.
So we go Stinkweed Imp, put that in their hand. Now Dread Return, Gemstone Mine, Breakthrough, Cephalid Coliseum, Prized Amalgam.
Okay. Tap the Fire Islet for blue and activate the Cephalid Coliseum.
Sacrifice it for blue, we'll lose a life. Cephalid Coliseum's in the bin. I'll put it on the stack. So we dredge 3.
Well, we're going to dredge whatever our best dredger is first.
So that is Stinkweed Imp, and Golgari Thug.
Okay, so we're going to mill 14 cards.
So Stinkweed Imp's in our hand. We mill Treasure Cruise, Prized Amalgam, Gemstone Mine, Sister Supplier, and Prized Amalgam.
Okay.
And put those in the bin. And then we do it again with Prized Amalgam, Stitcher Supplier, Gemstone Mine, Crown, Treasure Cruise. Stinkweed Imp is in their hand. We dredge 5. So we hit Stitcher Supplier, Bridge from Below, River Tears, Creeping Chill is up here, Golgari Grave Troll.
Alright, go ahead and discard all 3 Stinkweed Imps.
We still have one more draw.
Okay.
And because the way that's phrased, do we dredge back Golgari Thug or do we get Grave Troll? Because Grave Troll was one of the 3.
If Grave Troll gets milled on the first... So, which dredge are we executing right now?
We are on the 3rd dredge. The 3rd draw.
Oh, okay, then we don't get to return Grave Troll because we didn't dredge Grave Troll, we dredged Thug.
So we're dredging Thug. And we will mill 4. Icarid, Golgari Thug, Gemstone Mine, Fire Islet. And then we discard 3 cards.
Hold on. Did we dredge 4 cards?
Yeah.
No, like, did we use the dredge ability of 4 cards for that Cephalid Coliseum?
Yes?
We only were supposed to draw 3.
Yeah, we only drew 3. We drew a Stinkweed Imp, and a Golgari Thug.
Okay. I thought we had only a Golgari Thug in hand.
No, I thought we had a Golgari Thug and a Stinkweed Imp.
Okay.
I could be wrong, but I don't think I am.
I don't know. We can go back and check the tape later.
Alright. Learning experience, trying whatever. And stuff like Coliseum's in the bin. And we discard 3 cards.
Yep, discard all the Stinkweed Imps.
Stinkweed Imp. Stinkweed Imp. Stinkweed Imp. And then swing with the 2 Narcomoebas.
But those just came into play.
They came into play last turn.
Did they? Okay, then yes, we would attack with 2 Actually, no. We would rather block with Narcomoebas at this point. Because we have multiple bridges in the graveyard.
Okay.
So, end the turn.
Alright. And we go to our next turn. And we're going to Grave Troll.
We're going to dredge the Grave Troll.
Grave Troll. That's in our hand. We dredge 6. So we dredge Bridge from Below, Cephalid Coliseum, Straight Wraith, River of Tears, Icarid. Oh, we should have Icarid. We should have brought back Icarid first.
You, I can't see our graveyard, so like.
That's fine. We could exile Straight Wraith. Bring back Icarid. Moxfield does not use your graveyard very well.
Do we have multiple Icarids?
We do have multiple Icarids. We have that Icarid.
Okay.
And we can exile. Where's the little bat? The little booger. Citrus Supplier. Those who are in exile. These cards are in the graveyard.
Alright, so now, do we have a Modane's Recruiter in our graveyard?
We do.
Do we have a Dread Return in our graveyard?
We also do.
How many Bridge from Belows do we have in the graveyard?
We have 1, 2, 3.
Okay, cool.
4. We have 4.
We absolutely win. However, this took so long to do anything that I think we lost.
Probably.
Like, when we drew the breakthrough, it was the last possible turn to draw anything relevant, and then it took us like 2 or 3 more turns after that to do anything.
Yeah.
Alright. So that probably gets us up to an hour and a half if you would like to cut off the stream.
Cool. Thank you everyone for watching. Like I've said, like Toad and I have said, this is a test one. We'll figure it out more as we get going. I'll post this on YouTube sooner than later. And for those who are interested in Value Vintage, I'll try to remember to post the link to the Value Vintage stuff. Let me write myself a note. And you can find more Value Vintage stuff there. You can find us in the Discord. Continually working on new decks and trying new stuff. Toad's way better at it than I am, but this is a learning experience and we're in it together. So thank you everyone for watching, and we will talk to you all later. Make sure to like, subscribe, follow, all that, and bye.
Adios.